There's a certain kind of man that almost every woman finds impossible to ignore. And no, it's not the one flashing wealth, acting rebellious, or bending over backward to be overly sweet. It's something far deeper than that. So before you scroll away, hear me out. If you stick around till the end of this, you'll understand a part of attraction that even many women aren't fully aware of themselves. Now let's get into it, and listen closely, because what I'm about to share isn't in the usual dating advice, it's not being discussed on your favorite podcasts, and it's definitely not what your friends are whispering about. But the men who understand this, the few who really live by it, they're the ones women think about when the world goes quiet. They're the ones who leave a mark that lasts. Most guys, they'll zone out in the next few seconds. But if you're still here, you're about to learn something most men will never realize on their own. And if you ever want to go deeper into the kind of knowledge I can't share openly, I've created a private space, raw, real, and powerful. It's linked below. But for now, let's begin. Let's talk about something subtle, but powerful. The man who doesn't flinch. He's not trying to impress. He's not chasing approval. And that's exactly why he stands out. This isn't about arrogance. It's about energy. A calm, quiet strength that speaks volumes. Women can sense it. They feel it in their core. Imagine this, she's used to men changing their tone to please her, responding too quickly, always trying to keep her attention. And then she meets you. The man who listens but doesn't try to win her over. The man who disagrees respectfully, who stands his ground. Her brain doesn't know how to compute that. Why? Because deep down, she respects the man who walks through life with self-respect. The kind who doesn't ask for permission to exist. Even when she's stunning, brilliant, and magnetic, he's willing to walk away if something doesn't feel right. And that hits different. One of my clients, Mike, a chill, quiet software engineer, told me about this girl he met at a tech mixer. She was the center of attention. Guys swarming. She walked up to Mike. And he yawned. Casually. Not to be rude, he was just tired. That was it. And she couldn't stop thinking about him after that. Because he didn't flinch. He didn't chase. That calm detachment? It made her chase. Here's what most don't get, women aren't drawn to the men who chase. They become fascinated by the ones they can't quite figure out. The ones who seem centered, composed, and unaffected by the usual games. Now let's talk about something even deeper, the man who reflects instead of performing. This is the guy who makes her feel truly seen, not by doing tricks or showing off, but simply by being present. Most men try too hard. They talk about their job, their car, their body, all trying to prove something. But the man who's a mirror? He listens. Really listens. When she talks about her goals, he asks questions that make her think. When she shares pain, he doesn't rush to fix it. He holds space for her. Here's the difference. A guy trying to impress says, "Yeah, I work 16 hours too. I grind all the time." But the mirror says, "That sounds exhausting. Is it worth it?" Boom. That's depth. That's presence. And that makes her feel seen in a world where she's used to being sold to, not understood. That presence, combined with calmness, leads us to the next type. The man who carries the storm within the calm. He doesn't need to be loud. He doesn't have to dominate the room. But when he walks in, people feel something. He's composed, grounded, but there's a quiet fire behind his eyes. That intensity, that depth, it draws her in before he even speaks. It's not something you can fake. It's the energy of a man who knows who he is and doesn't feel the need to explain himself. Women pick up on that. It's the way he holds eye contact. The way he responds with stillness, not drama. That kind of energy? It lingers. She starts wondering, who is this guy? And that question sticks with her. She becomes curious, intrigued, maybe even a little obsessed. Then there's the man who knows when to walk away. Not out of anger. Not to prove a point. But because he respects himself enough to leave situations that don't feel right. This kind of man doesn't ghost. He doesn't play games. He simply understands his worth, and that calm confidence can be both magnetic and unforgettable. I remember one guy telling me about a woman who kept texting other men under the excuse of being just friends. Instead of fighting, he said, "You are free to do what you want. But I'm not someone who waits around while someone decides if I'm enough." And then he let go. She laughed at first. Thought he was bluffing. Until she realized he wasn't. 2 weeks later, she was back. But he'd already moved on. That's real power. That's quiet confidence. Another kind of man women can't resist is the one who can make her feel like she's the only person in the room, without even saying a word. He doesn't use pickup lines. He doesn't brag. He locks eyes and holds presence. A woman once said, "You looked like you didn't need anyone, but I wanted to be the one you wanted." That's the effect of pure presence. It's not about being the loudest. It's about making her feel something real, without even trying. But perhaps the most magnetic man of all is the one who's turned pain into power. He's been through it, heartbreak, betrayal, loss. And instead of letting it break him, he used it to build himself. He doesn't hide his past. He owns it. Not for attention, but because it shaped him. This man is grounded. He doesn't overreact. He doesn't chase. His calm wasn't given to him. It was earned. One man I know was cheated on by someone he truly loved. It shattered him. But he didn't become bitter. He rebuilt. Read books. Found mentors. Traveled. He became emotionally unshakable. And when he began dating again, women could sense it. Before he even said a word, they could feel that depth. That stillness. And they leaned in. Because they could trust him. Not because he said the right things, but because he was the right thing. If you've stayed with me until now, you're already different. Most guys never make it this far. They look for hacks, shortcuts, easy wins. But not you. You're here to understand, to grow, to become the kind of man who doesn't just attract, but inspires. So now the question is, what will you do with this? You've just unlocked something powerful. And this isn't about pretending. It's about evolving into someone unforgettable. Walk like you own your story. Speak with quiet conviction. Move with purpose. Because when you live that truth, the right people will feel it. If this hit home and you are ready to level up, not just in dating, but in every part of your life, then subscribe now. This is where the noise stops and the real work begins. No fluff. No gimmicks. Just raw, honest growth backed by timeless principles. And if you are the kind of man who wants to go even deeper into the psychology, the energy, and the mindset that most will never understand, I've created a private circle for that. It's where we get real. And once you are in, you'll understand why some men never get ghosted, never have to chase, and never settle. The link is in the description. It won't be open forever, but if it's calling you, trust that. Because the man who walks alone may walk faster, but the man with a mission, he becomes unstoppable. This is your mission. Own it.